Tonight, opting out.
For us looking at that, why would we want to take on that whole headache?
Why the Premier says Manitoba won't be taking part in the federal gun buyback program and what it means for firearm owners and gun stores. Also tonight, getting shovels in the ground. How soon before construction is expected to get underway on a major overhaul of the West Perimeter Highway?
Blowing snow and strong winds continue to wreak havoc on southern Manitoba tonight. A lot of highways remain closed. I'll show you how long these conditions will last.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. High winds and blowing snow are making for treacherous conditions out on Manitoba highways tonight. The Trans-Canada Highway from Headingley to Austin remains closed this hour. RCMP say there have been a number of multi-vehicle crashes on that stretch of highway. One involved at least 5 vehicles, including an RCMP cruiser. Mounties say an unspecified number of people are being brought to hospital, but their injuries are not believed to be serious. Southern Health says a code orange was issued for Portage District General Hospital as a result of this. A spokesperson says that alert was canceled shortly after 2 o'clock and all of the patients are in stable condition. But they were unable to say how many people were involved or the extent of their injuries. At last check, several highways across south central Manitoba are closed tonight. That includes Highway 75 from St. Agathe to the Emerson border crossing, along with stretches of Highway 2, 3, 5, 13, and 16. You can head to our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca or Manitoba 511 to find out the latest highway conditions. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get an update on those conditions. What are you tracking tonight?
Well, all of this, Marilee, is because of a low-pressure system that passed over Manitoba Thursday. It's moved off itself into Ontario, but we're contending with the snow and the very strong winds causing that blowing snow, so much so that Environment and Climate Change Canada has issued a number of weather alerts all across the province, but specifically regarding these highway closures and the blowing snow in southern Manitoba. It's these areas here. Now, look at the lakes first of all. Blizzard conditions there. Those strong winds are funneling into areas south of Lake Manitoba and to the southeast of Lake Winnipeg. There you go. Here's a closer look at them. These areas are especially problematic, and it's in south central areas where we're seeing a lot of these highway closures. Environment Canada says these conditions will last until late this evening before we start to see at least some improvement. I'll have more on that coming up and a look at the other alerts in the province and, of course, your full weekend forecast. There's another low-pressure system headed our way before too long. The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bath Fitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. In Winnipeg right now with snow falling and blowing around, it's minus 15 degrees. Look at those winds, north-northwest winds at 46 kilometers an hour, gusting to 55, giving us a wind chill that makes it feel like minus 29. Watch out for blowing snow in those open areas of the city. The pressure's rising and the humidity right now, Marilee, is 86%.
Thanks, Colleen. 2 women are facing charges following a horrifying home invasion near Gimli over the weekend. It all began Saturday morning when RCMP say a man who was away from home noticed some unusual activity on his surveillance cameras. He returned and found his 51-year-old wife tied up with extension cords on the floor. Mounties say she was there for about 3 hours. Investigators believe 2 suspects who were staying in a guest house on the property allegedly broke into the home, assaulted the woman and threatened her with a knife before tying her up and robbing the house. They then drove off in a vehicle that was also stolen from the property. Mounties say a 27-year-old suspect turned herself in Wednesday, while a 47-year-old suspect was arrested at a home in Gimli the same day. A federal gun buyback program won't be enforced by the province. That's according to a letter signed by Manitoba's Minister of Justice, citing concerns. And for legal gun owners, it's welcome news. Standing by live with the details tonight is CTV's Harrison Shin. Harrison, you spoke to some opponents of this program today. What did they have to say?
Well, Marilee, they are all welcoming the decision. I spoke with a gun shop owner, and he told me he has been storing some of those banned firearms in a safe because the buyback program is offering way below what they are worth.
Recon, pump action, spring loaded,
Daryl Tomlinson shows how this shotgun works. He's a co-owner of Canadian Gun Guys in Valley Gardens. While this gun is legal, some firearms like the AR-15s are being targeted by the federal government in a buyback program. Tomlinson says they aren't paying enough.
If you had an expensive vehicle and the government banned it and wanted to give you a tenth of its value, is that a buyback or a theft?
In fact, his store is hanging on to some banned guns in a safe because the program called the Assault-Style Firearms Compensation is paying out as low as 10 cents on the dollar. The premier, a gun owner himself, said the province will not be enforcing the program here.
This is a federal government program that doesn't appear to be very efficient, doesn't appear to be well run. And so for us looking at that, why would we want to take on that whole headache?
A letter sent by Manitoba Justice Minister Matt Wiebe dated Wednesday outlined the province's concerns with the program, cost and administrative burden, saying in part the resources would be better directed towards frontline policing, saying the firearms ownership is a federal issue and Manitoba won't administer the federal government's program. Chris Benson from the Manitoba Wildlife Federation also welcomes the decision, saying the program would have affected up to 1,500 of its members.
The Manitoba Wildlife Federation would much rather see that funding directed to those entry points to prevent those illegally smuggled firearms from entering Canada.
Back at the range attached to his store, Tomlinson is happy Canoe and the province will not be involved.
My initial response is a happy one, for sure.
The federal government has banned more than 2,500 assault-style firearms since May 2020.
Harrison, wasn't there a pilot period over in Nova Scotia to try out this buyback program? How did that go?
Yeah, Marilee, it was a 6-week-long trial last fall over in Nova Scotia. They collected and destroyed 25 banned firearms during that period.
All right, thanks for this, Harrison. Pembina Valley RCMP are investigating a fatal workplace accident that happened just north of Altona Thursday. Officers were called to a food manufacturing facility in Rhineland Industrial Park. It happened around 11:40 a.m. Mounties say a 42-year-old man suffered severe injuries after being pulled into machinery. EMS personnel treated the man on site before he was taken to Health Sciences Centre in Winnipeg. He later died from his injuries. Manitoba Workplace Health and Safety were notified and are investigating the incident. There was some concern and confusion today over accommodations in Thompson for evacuees from Pimicikamak Cree Nation. Some staying at hotels were told they were being relocated due to a limited availability of rooms. But the Canadian Red Cross says that wasn't actually the case. Joining me now live to explain is CTV's John Hendricks. So, John, where did this misunderstanding come from?
A notice from the Canadian Red Cross, Marilee. It stated that some Pimicikamak residents needed to pack up, check out of their hotels this morning, and hop on a bus headed all the way to Winnipeg.
What they've been told is that they have to vacate the premises because there's events that are taking place. I think one of them is a hockey tournament. And one of the things we've been trying to do is trying to ask the Premier and also the Minister Naylor to see if they can declare a state of emergency that includes Thompson to ensure that our people are prioritized for hotel rooms there.
However, the Red Cross says there were errors in the notice, and it stresses that people aren't being asked to leave Thompson. The agency adds there are enough hotel rooms for evacuees for the foreseeable future. Premier Wab Kinew says he hasn't responded to Chief David Monius's request for a state of emergency yet, but assures the province is there to help.
From what I understand, the hotels are going to be okay, but of course we know from the wildfire experience, we can be told one thing and then checkout time on another day, the situation can change. So I think for now, we're going to keep working with the community, making sure that we're there to troubleshoot or problem solve any issues around evacuees needing accommodations. And if we have to address those issues, we'll be there to do so.
Around 1,200 residents from Pimicikamak have been staying in Thompson since a days-long power outage crippled infrastructure in the community. Personnel from the Canadian military are now on hand to assess damage and aid in restoring water systems.
All right, thanks for this update, John. An 80-year-old man is dead after being hit by a vehicle in Selkirk yesterday afternoon. It happened around 4 p.m. near the intersection of Main Street and Selkirk Avenue. Mounties say the man was walking across Main at a spot without traffic signals when he was hit by a southbound vehicle. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Mounties say the driver called 911 and remained at the scene. Selkirk RCMP are investigating. Upgrades to a stretch of the West Perimeter Highway are expected to get underway in the spring. The province has earmarked $235 million for a new interchange and overpass at the intersection of the Perimeter and McGillivray Boulevard. That price tag includes engineering, design, land acquisition, utility relocation, and the actual construction. The project includes a 4-lane divided highway and 2-lane undivided overpass. It's expected to wrap up by 2030. The city of Brandon launched its crisis response unit last fall, and now it's getting a financial boost from the province. Brandon police officers are partnering with psych nurses from Prairie Mountain Health on this initiative. The unit was created to de-escalate situations and provide clinical intervention on calls where people are experiencing a mental health crisis. Brandon Police Chief Tyler Bates says it's all about providing a compassionate response to community members.
It's really a human-centered, supportive, integrated care response to what is a medical issue, right? And so oftentimes people that are in mental health crisis come into contact with police, and a health issue becomes criminalized.
The crisis response unit includes 2 full-time police officers, 3 full-time mental health clinicians, and peer support workers. Earlier today, the Manitoba government announced $290,000 in annual funding to support the initiative. People living in Lord Roberts and Riverview areas of the city are experiencing a strange smell in their neighborhoods. It's so bad, Fort Rouge City Councillor Sherry Rollins says area schools considered evacuation measures and sent precautionary letters home. It appears the smell is coming from CN Rail's nearby Fort Rouge rail yard. In a statement, a spokesperson for the company tells CTV work is ongoing to clean up the site following a derailment last month. CN Rail warns over the coming days neighbors may see steam or notice unusual odors as staff empty and clean the remaining rail cars prior to their safe removal and transport. CN says there's no threat to public safety and no dangerous goods are involved. The statement goes on to say environmental protection measures, including air quality monitoring, are in place as a precaution. Councillor Rollins says the incident underscores the need for stronger and more immediate public health notifications. She says people deserve prompt, accurate information so they can make informed decisions and avoid unnecessary anxiety. A plan to rejuvenate the downtown Y is one step closer to an ambitious goal.
This is us recognizing what is going on around here, what is needed around here, and going towards those needs, meeting those needs.
Y Winnipeg introduced its Heart of the City Capital campaign in June 2024 with a fundraising goal of $18 million, and today it celebrated surpassing the $10 million mark. The Y's president and CEO says the downtown facility's future is bright just years after it nearly closed.
The whole entire year of 2022, we really had to make a decision whether we were going to shut down the downtown Y. We had lost millions in operating since 2018, or if we were going to stay. But staying means we need to redevelop, we need to reinvigorate, we need to figure out what community needed from us now, because it's not the same as what they needed from us in the 80s or the 90s or even 10 years ago.
The redevelopment will include an indoor splash pad, community classrooms, and plenty of upgrades throughout the facility. The Y also plans to expand childcare spaces, along with mental health and newcomer services. The Manitoba government is the largest donor to date, chipping in $5 million through its sport, culture, heritage, and tourism department. Winnipeg's oldest surviving building is celebrating its 175th anniversary this year, but it needs your help to make sure it's here for years to come.
It had a variety of uses over its years.
The building, which now houses St. Boniface Museum, started as a convent for the Grey Nuns in 1851. Over the years, it's also acted as an orphanage, seniors' home, nursing school, and was the first location of St. Boniface Hospital. But with age comes the need for renewal, and to support that, the Friends of St. Boniface Museum have launched a capital campaign.
It has seen the city evolve and grow from dirt roads to what we see now. And I think that so many people in our communities have roots going back to when Winnipeg started and to when St. Boniface started, that there is definitely going to be a sentiment that they want to see this survive.
The museum has raised $4.5 million so far, but needs another $1.5 million for the final phase. It hopes to be able to reopen by September 7th, its anniversary date, with a celebration. A Made in Manitoba partnership is set to open in Winnipeg next month.
Stella's, Stella's homegrown, made in Manitoba, made in Winnipeg. So is EQ3.
And work is underway to open a Stella's Cafe in the furniture company's flagship store at CF Polo Park. A former cafe run by EQ3 closed in the fall. The company then approached Stella's to fill the void. The Stella's Cafe will be a counter service instead of a sit-down restaurant, but it will still feature family recipes made from scratch.
We're going to have a reduced menu, but many of Stella's wonderful products, some of our salads, our sandwiches, coffees, London Fog.
Stella's also plans to introduce wine and beer to the new location. It's putting a few more pieces in place, but hopes to open in early February.
We're building a web of new connections with China.
Prime Minister Carney makes a major trade deal with China, the impact it will have on canola farmers and the Canadian auto sector. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil made a small adjustment. The loonie slipped to 71.88 cents U.S. Gold futures lost $28. The TSX saw little change. The Dow Jones fell 83 points while the Nasdaq dropped 14. RCMP launched an online database for high-risk child sex offenders, and all but one on this initial list are from Manitoba. 8 of the 9 offenders on the publicly accessible database live here in our province, while the other one is from Prince Edward Island. Mounties say the database contains information about people found guilty of a sexual offense against children who are also at risk of committing crimes of a sexual nature. It's not affiliated or linked with the National Sex Offender Registry, which is only accessible to law enforcement. An online disciplinary registry for Manitoba teachers now allows anyone to see when an investigation is underway. This registry of certified teachers and school clinicians was released earlier this month. It enables the public to search certified teachers and school clinicians by name to see whether they've had their certificate suspended or canceled. According to the province, the change will help provide parents with a greater sense of transparency. The status would be removed once the issue is resolved and the teacher is exonerated or has their certificate suspended or canceled. McCartney is hailing his new trade deal with China as a landmark strategic partnership, one that sets Canada up for what he called, quote, the New World Order. It means more Chinese-made electric vehicles will soon be on Canadian roads, with more Canadian agriculture and food products on Chinese shelves. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver is in Beijing and has more on today's agreement.
The stalls at Beijing's busy food markets will soon be filled with more Canadian lobster, seafood and canola products after Canada and China signed what the Prime Minister is calling a landmark trade agreement.
We're building a web of new connections with China to create transformative opportunities for Canadian workers, build more stability, more certainty and prosperity on both sides of the Pacific.
As part of that deal, China will remove all existing tariffs on Canadian canola meal, lobsters, crab and peas until at least the end of the year, and permanently reduce its tariff on canola seed to 15%. The tariffs on canola oil and pork will remain.
If you're a canola farmer, you're probably cautiously optimistic that something's going to come from this because we don't know the full details. But if you're a Canadian auto worker, this is devastating news because they know that this is going to undercut North American produced vehicles.
In exchange, Canada will let 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into Canada, essentially tariff-free, increasing that amount every year after. By 2030, half of those EVs should cost a maximum of $35,000.
We need to look at this in the context of building. I mean, we're building a new part of our car industry. building cars of the future in partnership.
The new trade pact that encourages Chinese investment in Canada's auto sector was announced hours after Carney shook hands with the Chinese president, closing the deal on a 5-pillar strategic partnership meant to tear down trade barriers and forge new ties in areas from finance to energy and tourism.
A healthy and stable China-Canada relationship serves the common interest of our two countries. It is also good for the peace, stability, and prosperity of the world.
The Prime Minister says concerns about foreign interference and human rights were brought up in his private meeting with Xi Jinping. He leaves Beijing tomorrow for Qatar, where he will once again try to drum up business investment. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Beijing, China.
Prime Minister Mark Carney's trade deal with China covers more than just cars and canola. It will have an impact on other industries and Canadians. But as CTV's Rachel Aiello reports, the new agreement is being met with strong and split reactions from premiers and tariff sectors.
It's just a terrible, terrible, miscalculated decision by the Prime Minister.
Ontario's premier slamming the federal government for not consulting the auto industry before agreeing to allow more Chinese EVs into Canada.
We're letting China into a market that's going to have lower tariffs than our largest market, the U.S. They're going to undermine every auto manufacturer here.
The pact Carney and President Xi made, potentially pitting parts of the country against each other. But the premier of Canada's largest canola producing province doesn't see it that way.
The canola industry, the oilseed industry, the pulse industry is important to virtually each and every part of this country, up to and including Ontario.
Some sectors are elated about markets opening up again, while others are still waiting for relief.
While there was a deal announced for lobster and crab, there's many other species that weren't included that are subject to retaliatory tariffs. I'm thinking, cold water shrimp, sea cucumber, whelk.
We need to see the pork tariffs taken off as well.
While doing more business with economies like China may be divisive, experts today said it's key to Canada diversifying trade.
If you're going to do that on planet Earth, you're going to have to trade with China.
The new partnership also includes increasing cultural and tourism ties. Carney said Xi has agreed to allow visa-free access for Canadians traveling to China. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
This comes as welcome news to the Manitoba Canola Growers Association.
It's still early days looking to figure out exactly what's happening, but that reduction is significant.
The association's executive director says the change provides confidence for farmers. They will have a market where they can sell the crops currently sitting in their bins. It also takes away the uncertainty of what to produce.
It gives some assurance to farmers. They will have already made many of their seeding decisions last fall. That's why the urgency, right? Like the decisions that farmers are making are much longer term than the week they decide to put some seed in the ground.
The Manitoba Canola Growers Association would like to see the reduction made permanent with an eventual return to free trade with China. There were some mixed messages coming out of the White House today in response to this new deal with China.
Well, I think it's problematic for Canada. There's a reason why we don't sell a lot of Chinese cars in the United States. It's because we have tariffs to protect American auto workers and Americans from those vehicles. The Canadians were trying to get some tariff relief on their own to get ag into there. I think in the long run, they're not going to like having made that deal. All that being said, American cars are still going to be sold into Canada. We have a huge market share there, and I think that the Canadians' dependence on the United States for their GDP, the United States is always going to have an outsized role in that economy.
Later on, when President Trump was asked about the deal between Ottawa and Beijing, he appeared to welcome the news.
That's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, he should do that.
Also today, the president mused about slapping tariffs on countries that don't support his push to assert U.S. control over Greenland. Several European countries have said doing so by force would mean the end of NATO. Trump repeated his claim the U.S. needs the Arctic territory for national security, but he said the military alliance and Washington are talking. Turning now to some major news out of Ottawa, the Federal Court of Appeal has ruled the Liberal government did not have reasonable grounds to invoke the Emergencies Act 4 years ago in response to the Freedom Convoy protests. For about 3 weeks in early 2022, downtown Ottawa was filled with protesters, many who were furious about COVID area restrictions. Large trucks blocked streets around Parliament Hill, while big rigs also jammed key border crossings to the U.S. The Emergencies Act allowed for temporary measures like regulating and banning public assemblies, and it directed banks to freeze people's assets. Today's decision upholds one from a federal court 2 years ago. That one also ruled the government's decision to invoke the act did not bear the hallmarks of reasonableness, justification, and transparency. A change of course from WestJet tonight. It says more legroom is returning to some of its planes after an outcry from passengers.
Dad, can you just straighten out your legs there?
Impossible.
This online video got a lot of attention earlier this month, showing the cramped leg space in the new densified cabins where passengers said they felt uncomfortable and unsafe. WestJet says following a review of the data and feedback from guests, the airline will return to its standard seating arrangement for economy cabins by removing one row of seats.
Now our society and economy is going to be changed.
Preparing for artificial intelligence, how the province wants teachers to use the technology in the classroom.
And get ready for a much colder long-range forecast as we head into the second half of January. Sunday, expect this is likely going to change. For the time being, blowing snow minimally, but we will likely see some snow coming. I'll show you why in a couple of minutes. But for now, minus 16 is the high for the second half of the weekend. Then look at this week ahead. Temperatures in the upper minus teens, minus 17, minus 18 degrees Monday through Wednesday. A mix of sun and cloud or cloudier skies by Thursday, even colder, a high of just minus 20 degrees.
The province is beginning to lay the groundwork for the use of artificial intelligence in the classroom. It says Manitoba Education is working on guiding principles framework, which will advise teachers on how to incorporate AI in student learning. It notes teachers will maintain a central role in education. The framework is being developed with input from teachers, school divisions, Indigenous partners, and other stakeholders. The Premier says AI literacy is quickly becoming a key skill for future careers.
Now our society and economy is going to be changed in a huge way by artificial intelligence. And I think these same people who've helped us negotiate other societal changes are really well positioned to help us prepare for this technology change.
The Premier was speaking outside of a first-of-its-kind summit on the topic. The province has also partnered with an AI consulting firm which will develop programs and webinars to coach education leaders on integrating AI in the classroom. Now to an update on a story we brought you yesterday regarding the site of the former Sutherland Hotel on Main Street. A spokesperson for the city confirms the site has been Sorry, some technical difficulties there. It's issued a tender for the work. It says a timeline will only be ready once the contract is awarded. Any of the associated costs will be added to the owner's property tax bill. This comes 1 year after the historic building went up in flames. The nonprofit Anhart Affordable Housing has said it intends to purchase the land to build 69 units of affordable housing. A heads up if you live along the Assiniboine River. The province has increased the outflow from the Shellmouth Reservoir today in preparation for the spring runoff. This means water levels will rise about 6 inches from Shellmouth to Brandon. The effect will diminish as the river reaches Winnipeg.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
All right, Colleen, you almost lost me for a second there.
I thought I was going to have to sprint into the studio.
It was just, one of those Freaky Friday things. My microphone fell off and shut off. Yeah. Suddenly. I don't know how that happened, but I'm back.
That's what I thought happened. I thought, no. Well,
I've never had that, just instantly like that, but,
First for everything.
That's right. All right. And You're going to want some time if you're heading out on the roads tonight because that wind is making the drive a bit treacherous.
Well, depending on where you want to go, you might not even be able to get on those roads because a lot of highways in south central Manitoba remain closed for now, and they will be at least until a little further into this evening, minimally, until these conditions start to improve. So we still have these winds you can see on your screen here coming down very quickly out of the northwest. We have snow that continues to fall. That snow is blowing around in those strong winds. So Environment and Climate Change Canada has a number of weather alerts all across the province that remain in effect tonight. Now, under its updated weather alert system, a lot of it is now color-coded. All of it is, in fact. Now, the reason why these are all lighting up in yellow is because Environment Canada assesses the impact level as moderate. Having said that, as I mentioned, a lot of highways still closed in south central Manitoba tonight with these conditions. Still on the treacherous side in areas. So even the highways that are open, you might want to think twice because with visibility diminishing very quickly at times to near zero, that's not ideal, obviously, for driving conditions. The reason being we have these very strong winds coming off Lake Manitoba and Lake Winnipeg, funneling down into areas southeast of Lake Winnipeg, south of Lake Manitoba. Here in the city, winds are still very strong, too. So in those open areas, do watch out for reduced visibility. Now, blizzard conditions continue over the lakes. That's why a blizzard warning is in effect there, and also up in Churchill. Now, blizzard conditions are expected to improve there this evening. That's not all. We have cold warnings in effect tonight for some parts of northern Manitoba. All these areas lighting up in yellow from Brochet right through to Shamattawa. Anticipating wind chill values that will feel as cold as -50 from now right through to Monday morning. Here's a look at the current wind chills. Now, Churchill is not under that cold warning, but I suspect it might be before too long. It feels like -46 there. In Lynn Lake, it feels like -42. Here in Winnipeg, the current wind chill value is -28. Now, we're already seeing some clearing up in the northwest. That's Arctic high pressure coming in, delivering a blast of very bitterly cold Arctic air. That air mass is going to sit over the province over the weekend. But you see, like a layer of being pulled right back. You can see a curtain, if you will. Over the next few hours, we'll see clearing skies across more and more of the province. And as for these conditions here in the Red River Valley and south central regions, you'll see that improvement will come late tonight and overnight. But as that disturbance exits to the southeast, we've got the next one coming in from the northwest. More snow starts to move into Lynn Lake first in the morning, and then it will spread quickly across west central and northern Manitoba as we go throughout the day there and overnight and into Sunday. We go where there is the possibility that we could see some of that snow come into Winnipeg. This is why I'm saying it's likely we're going to see the forecast updated for the city and for our region as that system gets closer to the southeast part of the province. But then once we clear that, it'll move pretty quickly. Then the sky itself does clear by Sunday night. For tonight, down to -21 with that snow and blowing snow continuing for the next few hours. -21 tomorrow morning under a mix of sun and cloud. Only going to a high of -19. Winds shifting coming out of the northwest at about 30. Blizzard conditions ending this evening for Churchill, all the way down to -33 there. Snow through Gillam and Island Lake. Thompson clearing down to -32 tonight. Snow arrives tomorrow, the next round of it, -21. Now you'll see some light snow moving in first in Lynn Lake tomorrow morning, but first fairly clear there tonight and in those surrounding areas. Some light snow for Norway House, but Lynn Lake all the way down to -32 ahead of that snow tomorrow. -19 there. Snow spreading quickly across the region tomorrow. Then we get into the southwest. We've got some light snow falling there. Partly cloudy tomorrow, -17 for Brandon. Winnipeg in the southeast. That snow will fall soon, or stop falling soon in the next few hours. A mix of sun and cloud tomorrow. And in northwestern Ontario, we've got some light snow falling there. More of the same or late flurries. For Saturday, our first weather photo takes us to Grand Rapids. That photo is from Ernie. Lovely shot there. And this next one is the sunset over St. Laurent. That photo is from Caitlin. Send us your weather photos to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
We could see, once again, larger numbers of measles cases.
Still ahead, where in Canada health officials are warning about another surge in measles cases. Medical Watch is next. Canada's top court heard final arguments yesterday in a case reviving former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's role in the We Charity scandal. And it could bring sweeping changes to how Canadians hold their elected officials accountable. Democracy Watch challenged the 2021 decision by the Federal Ethics Commissioner who cleared Trudeau of any conflict of interest. A decision its co-founder believes should be overturned. And Duff Conacher joins me now to explain why. Duff, good to speak with you.
Thank you for your interest.
Before we get into the why, first maybe just explain the We Charity scandal for my viewers who are not familiar with it.
Yes, what happened was back in spring of 2020 when COVID hit, the federal government was looking to do something to support youth, wanted to spend money on internships, a program of some sort that youth could apply to and get some income from. And in the end, the government decided to hand the contract to administer that whole internship grant program to We Charity. At the time, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's wife, Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, was an ambassador for We Charity. And also they had other family ties, as both Justin Trudeau's mother and brother had spoken at several events. And as well, the founders of We Charity and Justin Trudeau had both said they were friends. And so that raised issues of why Justin Trudeau was participating in this decision to hand a grant to his wife's charity and to his friends when it was tens of millions of dollars of public money. And obviously there's a conflict of interest there.
This isn't the first time your organization has attempted to challenge the Ethics Commissioner's findings. You previously lost in federal court of appeal. Explain that decision and why, you refused to accept it at the time.
Yes, well, what happened with this situation is the conflict of interest law sets up the Ethics Commissioner, as does another law called the Parliament of Canada Act, and sets the commissioner up as an independent watchdog who's supposed to be ruling on whether the prime minister, cabinet minister, or top government official has violated the conflict of interest law. And the Federal Court of Appeal looked at that and said, well, there's also another provision in the ethics law that says you can't challenge the ethics commissioner in court on issues of an error of a fact finding or an error of legal interpretation, an error of law by the commissioner. And so we have to decide that issue first. And the Federal Court of Appeal ruled against us on that issue, said the ethics commissioner can't be challenged in court because they're under Parliament. And if you want to appeal a decision of the ethics commissioner, go back to Parliament. And our whole argument and point was that's absurd because this ruling is about the Prime Minister. We're supposed to go back to Parliament and say Parliament override and overrule the Ethics Commissioner's finding that the Prime Minister broke the federal ethics law. And so we then appealed to the Supreme Court of Canada that Federal Court of Appeal ruling, and that's what the hearing was about in this past week.
Yeah, the Supreme Court will now decide whether you can mount this legal challenge, and its decision could really have some widespread ramifications for everyday people. Can you explain what's at stake?
Yes, well, this provisions, these measures in the federal ethics law that say you can't challenge the ethics commissioner's rulings in court for errors of fact or law. That's a very common type of measure that legislatures across the country have put in all sorts of different laws that apply to the agencies, boards, commissions, and tribunals that enforce laws like landlord and tenant laws, social welfare laws, immigrant refugee laws, environmental protection laws across the country. There's about 100 of these kind of agencies, boards, commissions, and tribunals in each province, and about 150 of them at the federal level. And so our case raises this big issue about whether those kind of provisions where a government and the legislature and politicians have said, we've set up these decision makers, you can't challenge them in court on various reasons, whether that's legal or constitutional, or should the courts always be able to rule on these decisions? Should you always have a right to go to court and challenge these decisions? And that's the big systemic issue, and why 10 or so citizen groups from various areas, environment, immigrant refugee advocacy. They intervened in the case on our side. And that's the sort of bigger issue that underlies this, that the Supreme Court will also decide, in addition to deciding whether we can challenge the ethics commissioner in court.
A lot on the line here. When is a ruling expected?
Usually the Supreme Court takes a few months to several months, depending on the complexity of the case, to issue rulings. So it's not going to come anytime soon. There's 9 justices, and a majority of them have to agree to a final ruling. So at least 5 of the 9 they'll be discussing it and taking all the submissions that were made by ourselves, the federal government, and 15 different intervening organizations and provincial governments. And so I expect it'll take at least a few months before we'll see a ruling on this.
All right, we'll wait and see. Duff, thanks so much for your time tonight. It was great speaking with you.
Thank you. Take care.
Check your bathrooms because there is a recall on a Canadian brand of soap. Health Canada has issued a Canada-wide recall for these soaps from an Ontario company. It's all because of a chemical hazard issue regarding high concentrations of a methyl eugenol. Lake of the Woods Sunrise Soap Company reported around 400 units of its Shades of Grey bar of soap. They were sold in Canada between January of 2019 and January of this year. Health Canada says consumers should immediately stop using the recalled products, dispose of them, and contact the company for a replacement. Alberta's measles outbreak is flaring up again, with cases climbing after weeks of decline.
There are enough people in the province who are not immune to measles that we can still see low-level transmission. What we're watching for and what we're a little bit worried about is we reintroduce measles into an under-vaccinated community, and we know there are a number of pockets in Alberta that are significantly under-vaccinated. We could see, once again, larger numbers of measles cases.
Alberta says it's expanded immunization clinics and multi-language ad campaigns to boost vaccine uptake. More than 162,000 measles vaccines were given since the outbreak started, up 40% from the same period last year.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
We started Wings from square one. It's Paul McCartney of Wings.
He'll forever be tied to the Beatles, but a new documentary is looking into the life and times of Paul McCartney after the legendary group broke up. Spotlight is next.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Jade Eagleson.
He's best known as a member of one of the most famous bands in history. But now a new documentary is looking at the life of Paul McCartney after the Beatles broke up.
I had fear of being a grown-up. I felt very depressed, but I was very lucky because I had Linda.
Whoa, Paul McCartney, man on the run, follows McCartney as he forms his new band Wings alongside his wife Linda. Using intimate archival home footage, it chronicles the period through the 70s when he wrote many of his hit songs. The documentary by Oscar and Grammy winner Morgan Neville streams on Prime Video February 27th. A shakeup at the production company behind the Star Wars universe. Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down after more than 13 years at the helm. The Walt Disney Company announced yesterday that Dave Filoni will now lead Star Wars into its next era. Filoni, who was the chief commercial officer, and Lin-Wen Brennan, president and general manager, will take over. Kennedy, chosen by George Lucas, oversaw a lucrative but contentious period since Disney acquired Lucasfilm in 2012. Under her leadership, the franchise earned over $5.6 billion at the box office. Filoni will focus on creative aspects, having worked on projects like The Mandalorian and Ahsoka. Academy Award winner Zoe Saldana is now officially the highest-grossing actor of all time. This thanks to her roles in Avatar and Marvel series. She starred in the 3 highest-grossing films of all time, which is 2009's Avatar and its 2022 sequel, The Way of Water, as well as 2019's Avengers Endgame. She is also the first actress to appear in 4 movies that have generated more than $2 billion globally. All of her films have together made more than $15.4 billion worldwide. Over the past 20 years, the record has also been held by Samuel L. Jackson, and most recently, the record holder was Scarlett Johansson. We'll kick off your Friday primetime lineup with Celebrity Wheel of Fortune at 7. Happy's Place is at 8, followed by Stumble at 8:30, and at 9, catch Boston Blue, and it ends with The Big Bang Theory and E-Talk at 10. At 10, that is. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Well, our earliest temperature of the day was the highest, -5 around midnight. Current temperature is the coldest, -16 so far. Tonight will continue to fall down to -21 with that snow and strong winds blowing around that snow. And then cold temperatures merrily all through the weekend and next week.
Oh boy, is it ever. Thanks, Colleen. A lifelong Seahawks fan working at a Save on Foods in Kelowna has constructed a massive tribute to his favorite team ahead of their playoff game this weekend. Eric Valkenberg used about 1,500 boxes of pop. Seahawks fans in the area have flocked to the store to check out the display. He's been planning this for years, but waited until the moment to put it together for the first time.
Wow.
Like, this was his first time? He just did that? That was impressive.
He's been...
The team should send him some merch for this, I feel like. It's a pretty good advertising he's doing for them. Yeah.
Something other than pop.
Yeah. Have a great weekend. We'll see you back here Monday.